Hello again, my DIY loving friends, and welcome to Medicated Housewife DIY, where crafting and mental health come together. In this video, we'll create stunning Dollar Tree DIY Christmas ornaments that are not only budget friendly, but also the simplest way to add a festive touch to your home. These easy and affordable high-end decor hacks are perfect for anyone who loves crafting and decorating their holiday home on a budget. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment, and subscribe to Medicated Housewife DIYs for more high-end home decor DIY projects. Now what are we waiting for? Let's go DIY together. For this DIY, I'm starting with 3 wood rings, which you can get at Dollar Tree, but I will also link some for you in the description box below. One of them is cracked, but that's okay. We'll be covering that up later. I made a mix of apple barrel matte white paint, which I will link for you below, and plain water. I'm going to use that mixture to paint the 3 wood rings and to give them like a whitewash effect so that there is still some wood grain showing through. And I paint all 3 rings all over using a dry paper towel to wipe away the excess paint. I had these 3 wood snowflakes I got on Amazon, and I'll link them below, but you can find similar snowflakes at Dollar Tree. I paint the snowflakes with the same whitewash paint as the rings, just lightly giving them a touch of that white tone. For this first ring, I'm using a long piece of this extra thick jute I got on Amazon, and I will link it for you below, but you can also use regular jute or the thinner brown Nautical rope from Dollar Tree for this too. Using a dab of hot glue to secure the jute in place, I begin wrapping the ring with the jute, and I'm going to wrap about 3/4 of the ring. It is not exact. I'm leaving the top of the ring unwrapped, and I wrap right over that one little crack we saw earlier, so it is no longer an issue. I pick one of my snowflakes, and I'm going to hot glue the snowflake to the front of the wrapped part of the ring, overlapping some of that empty space in the middle of the ring, as you can see me doing right here. Next, I take a piece of regular jute twine from Dollar Tree and I loop it around the top of the wood ring. I grabbed a small wood bead from my stash, but you can get these at Dollar Tree. I thread the 2 pieces of jute twine through the hole and slide the bead down to the ring, making a knot toward the top of the 2 ends of twine, forming a jute hanger. Moving on to the next ring, I grabbed the white macrame cord I got on Amazon, and I will link it below. You could also use some white yarn from Dollar Tree to do this too. I'm going to wrap this ring the same way as the first ring, using the macrame cord and covering about 3/4 of the ring, using some hot glue to secure the beginning and the end. I pick out another snowflake, and I'm going to hot glue that to the cord covered part of the ring, centering it so it overlaps the wrapped cord into the center hole, just like my previous wood ring. Then I take another piece of macrame cord and I loop it around the top unwrapped part of that wood ring, using another wood bead to thread the 2 ends of the macrame cord through. Sliding the bead down to the top of the ring, I tie a knot toward the top to make a macrame cord hanger. On the 3rd wood ring, I grabbed my favorite leafy jute twine, which I will link for you below. I do love this stuff and I use it all the time. I'm going to do the exact same wrapping around 3/4 of the wood ring with the leafy jute, using hot glue at the beginning and at the end of the wrapping. And I did switch out that last snowflake because I did not like the design of the one I painted. I grabbed a different design and I hot glue that, like the others, to the leafy jute in the center on the bottom of the ring. I grab a piece of regular jute twine and loop it around the top of the ring, adding another wood bead slid over the twine and slide that bead down to the top of the ring, tying a knot toward the top of the twine as a hanger. And these are my wood ring Christmas ornaments, and I really do love the simplicity of these ornaments. They have a very boho neutral look to them, and I think they are a gorgeous addition to any Christmas tree. I also think making 3 of these to bring as a holiday gift in place of the usual bottle of wine hostess gift will make you a very popular guest at any holiday party. Fast, easy, and beautiful. This next DIY begins with this large wood bead. I got this one on Amazon and I'll link it for you below. I'm also using this thin yarn in a lovely golden brown color. I'll link this one below, but you could easily use the Dollar Tree yarn in a similar color. I had wrapped the yarn in a loop around my arm a bunch of times as though I was going to make a very long tassel. And then I cut another piece of that yarn and I tie a knot right in the center of that giant loop of yarn that I made. And with my center tied off, I cut the loop on both sides, again, just like making a very long tassel. I used some painter's tape at the end of the piece of yarn I tied around the center to make it easier to thread it through the whole of my large wood bead. I pull the piece of yarn through the bead so that a bunch of yarn sits at the top of the bead, and that is going to be the hair for our Christmas angel. Spoiler alert, we're making an angel. I put the bead and the hair aside, and I grab this white cotton nautical rope from Dollar Tree, and I begin the process of unraveling that rope into the many, many loose white strings that make up this rope. It is a longish process of unraveling, but it is an easy process. First, we unbraid the 3 main sections of the rope. Then we unravel each of the sections, attempting to not let the little strings get all knotted up, which can be a challenge. I pull the rope apart in the middle section, and off camera I used a clear little rubber band from Dollar Tree in the center of my long pieces of unraveled rope to mark the middle. With the pieces gathered in the middle, I did my best to detangle the ends. I had to use this dog comb because I could not for the life of me find the special dog brush I use exclusively for brushing out rope. I mean, I looked everywhere, so I had to use this comb, and it doesn't work as smoothly. So I do recommend you get yourself a dedicated rope brush. You know, I like to share all the ugly crafting moments I have with you guys. I spent some quality time trying to brush out all the tangles, and I will say it gave me serious PTSD to when my girls were little and had this super long hair I had to comb through before school every day, with them screaming at me that I was hurting them, and oh, the memories. If you have daughters, you know what I'm talking about. I take a long piece of macrame cord and I tie that right over the rubber band in the middle into a tight knot. Again, like we're making a long tassel, and this is going to be the body of our angel. So I tape up the ends of the cord I tied, and I'm going to string them through the wood bead, going in through the opposite side of the bead that we did for the hair, and then pull that body of the angel up through the top of the head. I cut a piece of white kitchen twine that I had in my stash, and I'm going down about 1 inch on the angel body. I tie a knot around that angel's body to create the waist. Puffing that section out to be a little round, I also grabbed this spare wood handle I had lying around, and I just stuffed it into the center of the body cavity to help it hold its rounded shape while I was working. We'll remove that later on. After some adjusting, I used a small dab of hot glue inside the bead hole at the bottom to help it stay on the angel body and hold it in place. I put the angel aside and I grabbed this small bamboo hoop from Dollar Tree. I also cut 12 pieces of the macrame cord. Then I take those 12 pieces of macrame cord and I tie a lark's knot onto the bamboo ring with each of them, as you can see me doing right here. It's a very basic knot, and you can always pause the video if you want to rewatch how to tie it. After I've tied all 12 lark's knots, I'm pushing 6 knots onto each side of the bamboo hoop. I'm not going to glue them or anything because I'm not sure where their permanent position will be, but there are 6 of them on each side. I then unravel all the hanging pieces of the macrame cord, which is considerably faster and easier than the nautical rope, until all of those pieces are then unraveled and fluffy. And I use that annoying metal comb to brush them out, still easier than the nautical rope. I lay them flat and I use a scissors to trim the bottoms of the hanging rope pieces on a slight angle, getting shorter as you go up, as you can see me doing right here, so that both of my sides will mirror each other. Moving back to my angel, I separate about 4 or 5 pieces of the hair yarn from the front of her head and loosely tie them in the back of her head with a small clear hairband to create a bit of an angelic-like hairstyle. Then I grab a piece of white yarn and some gold metallic floss that I had in my stash, and I twist them, which didn't hold very well, so I do redo this later and braid the white and gold together. I then tie them loosely around the angel's head, kind of like a headband or halo band. She's just so pretty. I made a matching belt to the headband and I tied it around her waist, though, so that she had a coordinated look. Next, I trimmed some of that unruly, unraveled nautical rope off at the bottom, just to make it a little bit more manageable. I took that wood handle out of the body cavity and I cut a piece of macrame cord to string through the middle of the body. I made that piece of cord into her arms, tying knots at the ends of each to make hands, which I hot glued together, crossed in front of her body. I had this small wood star from another project and I hot glued that in front of the hands to hide the knots. Then I trimmed off the remaining cord from the arms on each side. And as you can see, I replaced the twisted headband with the much better braided one, being careful to make sure the cord from her body that's coming out of the top of her head is inside those little pieces of hair and the halo headband, so it won't knock into them and move them. I do another combing out of her body and then another trim at the bottom to even it out a little bit more. Then it was time to place her in the bamboo hoop, so using the top string from her body through her head, I tied that piece to the top middle of the bamboo hoop, adjusting the height to get the angel to sit at the bottom of the hoop where I wanted her. I put half of her body draped over the front of that hoop, and then the other half in back of the hoop, kind of like she's floating on it. I got these small wood wings on Amazon and I will link them for you below. I attached the wings inside the cavity of her body where we had stuck the arms through. And there she is, my gorgeous little rope angel. I seriously love her. Now, technically, you could hang her at the top of your tree, but honestly, I really love her as a wall or door hanger. She is so light and delicate looking. Definitely one of my favorite Christmas crafts so far, and mostly made up of Dollar Tree nautical rope. That's a winner in my book. For this super easy DIY, I'm using 24 small craft sticks or popsicle sticks from Dollar Tree. I'm using 24 total, but to start with, I'm going to be making 8 of these V shapes using 2 craft sticks. So that's a total of 16 sticks to make the 8 Vs. I want the V's to be the same size and angle, so I am using the first one as a template to glue the rest of the 8 to try and keep them all the same or as similar as I can. Once I have my 8 V's all finished, I take 2 sticks and they're placed end to end, and I'm going to take a third stick and hot glue it pointing up and glue to both ends of the 2 sticks that are going across, as you can see me doing right here. Once that dries, I flip the piece over and glue that 4th stick on top of the ends of the 2 original sticks, making a plus sign. Then I take my plus sign and I'm going to add another stick in between each of my 4 sections of the plus sign. I attach each of the 4 additional sticks along their edge to the middle of the plus sign, and hopefully that makes sense to you, but if you watch, it's pretty self-explanatory. So I have this kind of spiky looking star that's totally giving me grammar school vibes, but we're not finished. I used some hot glue to reinforce some of the attachments because they did feel a little flimsy. Then I'm taking my 8 V shapes and I am going to attach them around my spiky looking star. At the ends, as you can see me doing right here, some of the V's are a little bit of a squeeze to fit into the right position, so the connections for all of them are not going to be perfectly identical. It doesn't really matter, and if you haven't guessed by now, we're creating a snowflake shape, so technically they are never perfect, and frankly, neither are we, so that's just a thought for the day. After attaching everything, I did go through again and I reinforced the connections with hot glue. Then I take my wooden snowflake and I am using some folk art antique wax, which I will link for you below. I'm going to paint the entire snowflake, the front, the back, and all of those little sides and edges. I'm also using a dry paper towel to rub away the extra wax as I go along. Once dry, I wanted to add some color, so I am using this leafy ribbon that I will link for you below, and I wrap every single bit of the snowflake with the ribbon, and I go back and I wrap some of those areas twice that look a little sparse to me, which is why I am not worried about the excess hot glue mess at those craft stick connections, because we are mostly going to camouflage all of those areas. When I'm done wrapping the ribbon, I felt like the snowflake needed a little bit more embellishment. I had these little mini wood slices, and I actually am not sure if I got them at Dollar Tree or not. I think I did, but I will link some below for you anyway. I glued the larger one in the middle of the snowflake, and then I used the smaller ones to attach at the edges of all of my V-shaped pieces. And originally I thought I would use them on all of the connected areas, but I decided that less was more. So I left it with just the middle wood slice and the very edge of the snowflake, but you can do more wood slices if you wanted to. And this is my wood snowflake, and you technically could attach a cardboard roll to the back of this and actually use it on top of the tree, but I am going to use this on my front door because I'm not a big wreath person and I love the wood and leafy goodness of this snowflake. A little rustic, a little woodsy, but oh so easy. I can't think of a better use for popsicle sticks this season. And you know the drill. I want to know what you think. Let me know in the comments which one of these budget Dollar Tree DIY Christmas ornaments was your favorite and why. I love hearing from all of you. And if you've enjoyed this DIY video, there's another one waiting for you. Just click that link on your screen for more Medicated Housewife DIYs. Also, I'd love for you to join our little crafting family and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and until next time, my name is Sarah. I'm the Medicated Housewife, and crafting is my medication.